Hey everyone, welcome to another $1,000 strap search. I've got my $1,000 in singles here and I'm about to show you what I found. But before I do, let's talk about this week's tip. Now, I'm filming this video and it's probably not going to come out for 3 or 4 weeks, so I hope things haven't changed too much when it comes to this tip. But I would just like to point out the price of gold. It's about $3,300 an ounce right now. 4 years ago, gold was well under $3,000. And when I started collecting back in 2016, a mere 10 years ago, 2015, I bought an ounce of gold for $1,100. I am not a financial advisor. I am not speculating in the market. What I will say, though, is that gold is seemingly ridiculously overpriced. If the world ever does get back to normal, gold prices are going to plummet. And if we continue on the current pace we're at, gold's going to skyrocket and you won't be able to do anything with it anyway because the money you're trading it in for won't be worth nothing. So, what am I saying? It is a great time to take that 1 ounce of gold that you bought for $1,600 and sell it for $3,000 and buy a note you may have never thought you were able to own. A lot of us have choke points that are at like $1,000, $1,500. And there's a lot of really cool notes that are $3,000, $4,000. Well, if you're sitting on gold and you're just watching it skyrocket, maybe it's time to sell an ounce or two and turn it into something that not everybody has in their pocket. Once again, those high-value notes are few and far between. There's a reason why those notes are that expensive. There just aren't that many of them. So this may be your, pun intended, golden opportunity to take an ounce of gold and turn it into a note that you may have thought you would never be able to own. Just saying. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. All right. Here's my $1,000 in singles. What are we doing today? I am going through some more Vegas money. This was the stuff from downtown, and I had high hopes for the downtown stuff. Downtown, that's where you get a lot of the touristy stuff. I can see a lot of people turning in singles there, so you don't expect to find a bunch of brand new notes. And it's not that I found a bunch of brand new notes, but I didn't quite find as many good circulation finds as I was hoping. From downtown, I've got the Golden Nugget, Four Queens, El Cortez, the Grand, California, the Plaza, Circa. I also put Circus in here, even though that's a strip hotel, because it's kind of the same class as downtown. And then I also had a few straps from Palace Station that I included as well. So what did I find? Let's take a peek. Starting off with an alternator, 68387828. 8 is the alternator. Is it worth anything? No. It's just like quads, except the quads are spaced out. I don't see them. I don't catch them very often is the way I should put it. But when I do, I pull them. No additional value, of course. Found a birthday note, and this one's actually proper. 11/28/1988, so November 28th, 1988, and it's in pretty good condition. Found a reverse birthday note, 1956. That would be May 26th, so the wrong order on that one, so that's too bad. But once again, if it was my birthday, I'd be kind of excited to have it. This one is a trinary and so close to being really cool. 24242492. So yeah, 2s, 4s, and 9s on this. No additional value. If it was 2424242424, that's different. That would be a binary repeater, actually a super repeater at that, and that would have value. But this is close, but it's not worth anything. It's almost worth something because it's almost a fancy serial number. 1s, 4s, and 5s on this one. Then we got quad zeros, trailing zeros there. And some people's, well, no, that's not even the case because the 4 and the 5 are reversed. Never mind. Quad 1s on this one. And quad 2s here. Quad 5s. Quad 6s. And some stars. 2017 A star note. Another 2017 A star. Always check, see if they're filled. 2013 star. Another 2013. And some older notes. 2003 A. 2003, pretty rough shape on this one. 2003, a little bit better shape. 2003 again, and another 2003. 1999, actually pretty good shape on that. There's a lot of crispness to the paper. And the oldest note I found this week was from 1995. Not a web note, and checking the back, nothing fancy about the back plate. So that's what I found this week. What did I pull out? Well, when I was at the show, Central States that is, one of the people I stopped and saw was Ben the Coin Geek. I was able to stick my head in there, and Ben was busy on Thursday. He was really busy. I could hardly have a chance to talk to him. But I said hi, and I managed to pick up a note from him. I managed to get this 1969, a $5 Federal Reserve note, and it's an error. It's got almost a full offset print back to front. You can see this is the front of the note. Now, you can't see through the note. That's not what this is. It's not heavily inked and bleeding through. That's not how that works. How this works is they print the back of the note first, okay? So they start with blank paper, and they do the back print. But if they start the print before the paper is in, that print gets printed onto the back board. And then when they put the paper in, they print this side of the note, so you get this image, but the image that was printed on the backboard comes off on this side, and everything on there would be reversed. You can see where it says the United States of America, it says it backwards. You can see THE backwards over here. You can see the Lincoln Monument. 5 is backwards over here. The number 5 is backwards over here. In fact, if we turn it like this, it's a 2. Whatever. Anyway, it's an offset print. So everything that's supposed to be on the back of the note was printed on the back plate and then pressed onto the front part of the note. And eventually that wears off. They usually pull most of these when that happens, so you don't see that too often. But when you do see it, that's what it can be like. This one being a little bit lighter says that it happened later in the print run because most of the ink had already come off at that point. Another way to tell is to look at that serial number. You're talking 127. So that means that there was most likely 127 notes that had received this, each one incrementally lighter and lighter and lighter as more ink is picked up and taken off of that backboard. Now, anybody looking at this would most certainly call this an error. Without a doubt, this is an error. This is not a little bit of extra ink by one of the serial numbers. It's not, well, if we take a magnifying glass and look, there's a little dot above the B. No, that's not what we're talking about. It's also slightly off-center. So for all the people saying notes that are off-center are errors and wanting $2,000 for those errors, or even $200 for that matter, no, that's not the case at all. But this being a genuine error, and a substantial error, and an error that you don't have to argue about. It's clearly an error. You don't have to convince anybody. What is something like this worth? And that's where it gets kind of interesting. I'm going to pull out this book here, U.S. Error Note Encyclopedia, and we're going to take a look at some of the offset prints. Here is a $5 front to back, full back to front offset print. And in fine condition, it's $75. In XF, it's $150. And in choice uncirculated, it's $250. What can we tell from that price? Well, to start with, you need at least that much ink for the note to be worth $150. So if anybody has a note on eBay listed as an error that has less additional ink than what you see here, if it's only got some little dot right over here and they're wanting $400 for it, well, no, you can buy a note that has this much ink on it. You can buy 3 of these notes for the price of what they were asking. So keep that in mind. I get people that are sending me pictures going, there's a little spot right here. Is that worth money? No, it's not. If a note like this is only worth $75 to $150 in this condition, then what do you really think that little dot is worth, you know? Don't buy the little dot. Now, if it's a giant ink smear, that's different. But when you see people asking hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for errors, keep in mind what a genuine error is. And I don't know if cheap is the right word, but you can get a genuine error like this for 150 bucks. This is the one I got from Ben. So yeah, when you start to see those notes for 300, 500, 1,000, $2,000, look to see what they really are and look to see what you can actually get. I highly recommend picking up one of the error books. I show these all the time. This one is U.S. Error Note Encyclopedia, and here's the ISBN if you want to look it up. And the other error book that I've got is right here, United States Paper Money Errors by Dr. Frederick J. Bart. And we've got the ISBN right here. If you're interested in errors at all, please pick up one of these books. The prices might be a little bit low right now, mainly because these books have been printed over 5 years ago. So the prices have gone up slightly, but at least it gets you in the ballpark. At least you understand that a note like this is not a $2,000 note. And that's what you really want. You want to make sure that you're in the ballpark. If you want one that's an offset print like this, you know that you can get one from, in rough condition, $75 and all the way up to, all the way up to 2 or 3, maybe 400 if it's choice and circulated. That would put you in the ballpark, and that's the whole point of a guide, to give you numbers like that so you can piece together whether or not that note really is worth $2,000. All right, guys, that's what I've got for you this week. If you learn anything new, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. Love reading all your comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.